Hello, I am Carl Mogline, and this is College Football on Air. We're returning for our second episode. It's so exciting. I know you guys all missed me so much through the past, 5 days or so. Well, week 2 happened. Wasn't that interesting? There was some stuff that happened, and we decided that we wanted to talk about it. Fun. Well, later on the show, I'm going to talk with Jake Laker, the man, the legend, but that's later, and he doesn't need to talk now, because, yeah. We're going to talk about all sorts of stuff, but first I should talk about social stuff. Talking about social media. Find me at Carl_PM. That's on Twitter, and that's Carl with a K. If you do it with a C, you will not find me. With a K. Carl with a K _PM. You can also find me on Facebook with both In the Crease with Carl Mogline and 50 State Sports Update. Other shows I have here on Spreaker with the National Sports Network. National Sports can be found on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook, look up National Sports, and Twitter is National Sports 1. They also have an Instagram as well. Just look for National Sports. You get the gist of that. And please, if you have any questions for our show, just leave them in the comment box, and I will try my best to answer them. And if I can't, Jake Laker will answer them. And if he can't, I will make something up, which sounds fun. So we're going to do that. But before that, I would like to go on to a more serious note. There was a sad tragedy today. UCLA freshman receiver Nick Pasquale, was hit by a car and was killed while walking in San Clemente early Sunday morning. He was 20 years old. Jim Moore, as well as the athletic director and many of his teammates, have released statements saying that he was such an incredible person. UCLA has said he did play in the Nevada game, although no official media thing had said he did. He will truly be missed. He was a great young man with so much life ahead. And now we will move on to college football week 2 roundup. And I'm going to start off, because I can, with teams that are or aren't for real. My number 1 team that is or is not for real is Ole Miss, the University of Mississippi. This is an interesting team. They almost lost to Vanderbilt, but they didn't. And now they're playing Texas, who lost to BYU, who I'm going to talk about later in the ranked losses section. So this is all very interesting, and Ole Miss should show a lot about itself next week. But personally, I don't think they're for real. I think them and Vanderbilt are both bottom-line SEC teams who aren't going to do that well this season, maybe make a bowl game. I don't see a lot happening for them. I think they'll probably lose to Texas, who isn't even that good. So Ole Miss, I don't think they're for real. Then you have Miami. They just beat this big team in Florida. They are now ranked 15th in the Associated Press poll and tied for 18th in the coaches poll. That's all great for Miami. I mean, they beat a great team in Florida. But again, they should have lost that game. They gave up so many yards. They got rushed out everything. They only had 60 yards running and a couple hundred yards passing. They should not have won that game. They won it with defense, but I just don't think it's going to hold up once you get to ACC teams, which have big quarterbacks throwing the ball. Look, if they play Clemson or Florida State, I just don't see them matching up whatsoever. I don't think they're a for real team. Our next team, as we look into last week, and these are just not all last week, but because this team is different, this is Washington, and they beat Boise State 2 weeks ago. While I don't like Boise State that much, I like Washington a lot. Their offense is something special. I'm just going to say that straight out. I think Keith Price is going to be a great quarterback at Washington, and I do think they will be 3rd in the Pac-12 North, which is basically like being 4th or 5th in the Pac-12, but they'll still win, I think, 9 games or so, and they'll end the season ranked. So I like the team. I just think they're in a really tough division, because right now, you could say that basically the SEC East is like the Pac-12 North. They're just stacked. They've just got all these great teams, on the one side. And then my last team, and this is not exactly a team that's gained much prestige. It's more of a team that you could say is always prestigious, but it's Oklahoma. And I'm just going to say they had issues with West Virginia. And West Virginia is not a good team. I'm saying, oy vey, Oklahoma. You had a terrible game against West Virginia. And I just don't find you good. Very good at all. I mean, this is a team in Oklahoma that only won 16-7 over West Virginia. It was 13-7.5. This was way too close to a West Virginia team that is not good. Oklahoma, I think you're not for real, even though you won in all that. Yeah. So now we're going to go into a personal favorite segment of mine, because we get to do it every week, and once, if nobody loses that is ranked, it's going to kill it, because this is the ranked losses section, where we talk about ranked teams that lost. There's a few of them this week. Of course, we talked about Miami knocking off Florida somehow, even though we're not exactly sure. I'm pretty sure it's because Florida turns over the ball a lot. I'm talking interception here, fumble there, and for some reason they figured out how to do a third turnover. Yeah, they probably could. Then, my personal favorite upset of the week, BYU beat Texas! Yay! Because Texas isn't that good, and people decided because they're Texas, they should be good. And just a quick side note, BYU lost to Virginia last week, and Oregon did win over Virginia by 39, but that's a different argument, and I'm gonna bring that up on Jake Liker later. Of course, BYU did rush for 550 yards. Ridiculous. That's truly what it was. It was a ridiculous amount. And then we go on to our two games that had two ranked opponents. First off, the wonders of South Carolina and Georgia. Georgia, as Jake Liker and I had both picked, wink wink, they won by 11. It was truly a beautiful sight. They were tied at half, but no more for them. Aaron Murray completely crushed South Carolina. 4 touchdowns. And just a brutal beating of South Carolina, proving why Georgia is a good team and really should be a top 10 team. And it also proves that Clemson's really good, because they beat Georgia. I like Clemson and Georgia. Both are two teams I like. I like Georgia definitely in the west of the SEC. And I think they really have a shot to win. I don't think they'll win a national championship with that loss, because I think they'll be two undefeated teams. But I like Georgia a lot. So that's happening. And then we have the sad tale of how Notre Dame was ranked 14th somehow, even though they lost a bunch of people, and they have Tommy Rees starting as their quarterback, playing Michigan, who has a former wide receiver playing quarterback. But he can run, so they won 41-30, and Michigan is 10 times better than Notre Dame. Notre Dame is not a good football team. Michigan's a pretty good football team. I think they'll beat Ohio State just because I don't like Ohio State. But they'll probably lose one along the way. Maybe win a Big Ten title. Rose Bowl's possible. BCS Bowl possible. So, they'll be pretty good. But Notre Dame, it won't. Notre Dame will make a bowl. Sure. I mean, they play Army. So that counts as one, maybe a half win, actually. And they'll squeak out a few wins. But Michigan's much better. So, congratulations to Michigan. You proved that Notre Dame sucks. And now, my personal favorite upset, one that truly comes to my heart, it's that USC lost to Washington State 10-7. Doesn't it sound like a beautiful day when Washington State's beating USC, because nobody likes USC, at least if you're not me or Jake Liker or, yeah. But I have some weird connections to UCLA. But other than that, I don't like USC normally. I think they were ranked because they could be, even though they didn't know who their starting quarterback was, and somehow, with Marquise Lee, they only scored 7 points. This is what really confused me. Washington State should have punted enough that Marquise Lee would have broken at least one. I mean, come on. And I mean, Mike Leach is known for his offense at Washington State. They eked out 10 points in one. I'm sorry, but USC, you can only muster 7 points against Washington State, and Washington State, you won with 10 points. Anybody else shocked? Me. Anybody else really happy this happened? Me. Anybody like Connor Holiday a lot? Not really. But they won. And SC proved that once again they are overranked. And this brings me into my personal favorite as of personal favorites. And I think I've had at least 3 or 4 personal favorites this show already. It's my first rant. And I'm not actually planning to do a second one, but I probably will end up having one. I'm sorry, but I have some issues. You want to know what my issues are? It's something I like to call a prestige ranking. It's like Notre Dame. I mean, this year I can accept because they made the BCS National Championships, even though I knew they would suck. It's Notre Dame 3 years ago when they would be ranked 24th, even though they were 6-6 the previous year. Or how USC was ranked, even though they were 7-6. This is the type of thing I'm talking about. It's called a prestige ranking. It's the same thing with Texas. These are all teams this week that proved that they should not be ranked because they are these schools. This week proved what I've been saying for a while, that prestige rankings are terrible. I think it's what Boise State has always tried to prove and now is actually changing. This goes back to the Boise State rule I had last show. It's a prestige ranking. Boise State has gotten to the point where they get a prestige ranking. You know who else gets prestige rankings? It's Texas, USC get prestige rankings. Notre Dame gets prestige rankings. If Alabama loses enough, which they won't, because Alabama's a really good football team, and will be good for a while until Nick Saban loses, they'll still get highly ranked on prestige. There are certain teams that will always be ranked at the start of the season, or at least always get votes, because they're the teams they are, and they have 8 5-star recruits who are freshmen who won't even play. It's the odd thing about life, but for some reason we all believe that a team that was good in the past 80 years ago will now be good in the future. Well, I think it's crazy, terrible, and a absolutely bad thing. And now my favorite person in the world to continue my random list of favorites. It's the main man, the UCLA person, because I can't think of anything else better to say. He loves his NFL, he loves his Packers, and they lost today. It's Jake Liker. Jake Liker, please say hello to everybody. Well,
alright, I'll say hello. I don't know how. I don't want to be a letdown after that amazing intro that he gave me.
Wasn't it wonderful? I truly think that was beautiful. Alright, let's start talking about college football, because this is College Football on Air, and that's what we like to do. Before we say our top 20, our top 5s, because I really don't feel like going through 25 teams, we're going to look at what the AP and the US Today coaches poll said, because we can and because apparently they're smart. Whether or not that's true, we're not sure. Alright, let's look at theirs. In the AP top 25, a poll I like a lot better than the coaches poll, Alabama is still number 1 with 57 first place votes. Then you have Oregon, who is number 2 again, but they finally got a first place vote. I'm so happy about that. I'm sorry, that's a different argument. Then you have Clemson, they got a first place vote, and Ohio State, they also had a first place vote. So top 4 people are not sure where to put them. Then you have Stanford at 5 there, and then we go over to the USA Today coaches poll. Personally, I love how the votes end up going out here. You have Alabama at number 1 with 58 first place votes out of 62. Oregon now has 1, and they are the second-ranked team. Ohio State is 3, Stanford is 4, and Clemson is 5, oddly enough. And Texas A&M has a first-place vote, even though they're 6. That's weird enough. But let's start out with our top 25s. Jake Liker, I would like to hear your top 5.
Also, yeah, I'm looking at these polls, and I gotta say, I definitely like the AP poll more, and it has nothing to do with the fact that UCLA is 16 in one and 17 in the other. No, I'm not kidding. I actually do mean that.
Oh.
Alabama's number 1. I'm not even going to try and draw that out really long way. It's obvious. Alabama's the top team in the country. I'm not having this argument with you again right now. They're the number 1 team in the country. They're the 2-time defending champs. There's just no doubt that they're number 1.
See, I have a new argument today. So you should be excited because I have a new argument for this show. And I will continue to create new arguments until you agree. So let's continue going.
I'm not really agree. Oregon goes number 2, Clemson 3, Ohio State 4. These are all very reasonable rankings. And then you get to number 5.
See, I think number 5 is always hardest.
Number 5 is the tough one. Number 5 is always one of the more difficult ones. It's not Texas A&M, so it's Louisville. Because Louisville has given nobody a reason to think that it's even possible for them to lose, considering the games they play. Now,
also, have you seen their schedule?
Play two pretty bad teams. So Bridgewater's been amazing thus far. They won't be number 5 for long, but it's early on. I mean, you look at Nebraska, they were, I think, 16 last week, and it dropped to 23, even though they won by 50-something points. The polls still don't mean that much right now, but if you want my top 5, they have it. They got it right, except for Stanford at 5. I'd probably put Louisville there.
Alright, I actually semi-agree with you. We're going to start at number 5 because I also have Louisville there because I like Louisville a lot, and their schedule is very, very easy. Very easy because they're playing in the American Athletic Conference. Yay! Then we go number 4. I have Stanford because, well, they proved they beat They proved after their first game they're a strong enough football team, and now they deserve their spot in the top 5 at number 4. That's where I put them. 3, Clemson. I loved their game against Georgia. As I said, and this year they had no issue. I mean, this week they had no issue with, I do not remember what FCS team they were playing. Then we get to the point where you're about to yell at me. So, we're gonna start doing that now. So, I have Alabama at 2, again. And Oregon at number 1, again. And note, Ohio State's not even in my top 5. And I want to just really quickly go over that. Ohio State only won by, 10 over Buffalo. Baylor beat them by 60. That's just the facts. Now we're going to go over why I think Oregon's number 1. They have proved a lot this season. I already like them, but they proved more. Hey.
No, I have to fact check you. I'm sorry, okay? Because I can still hear your bias from an entire state over if I hung up right now. Ohio State beat Buffalo 40-20, and beat San Diego State 42-7. So they barely won because they handled their team.
They only won by 20 at Buffalo, and they struggled early.
They struggled early, 42-7.
No, against Buffalo, not San Diego State.
They still won by 20.
Yes, but look at the first half stats. It's very different. I think they were up by what? They weren't up by that much. I'm sorry, but Ohio State should be blowing out Buffalo, and Baylor blew them out. And while I like Baylor, I don't think they're a top 5 team. So yeah.
I think you're wrong, but you already know that. Continue. Tell me why that Oregon deserves a throne atop the college football world.
I actually have an almost okay reason here. Alright, I'm just going to bring through a couple. And this is a reason I hate to bring out, because I hate that this team beat this team, so they'll be better than this team. But it just is, just because it's this magnitude. So, BYU this week beat Texas in a pretty close game. Virginia beat BYU in a pretty close game. So you could say those teams are pretty similar. Oregon beat Virginia by 39 points. Oh, shoot, no, that's not even it. It's 49, isn't it? They just won by it wasn't even close. Yeah, it was 49 points over Virginia. I'm sorry, but 49 points over another. It's a school that already beat an okay school in BYU. And it just, I'm sorry, if you're beating teams that are okay by that much, that are BCS conference teams by that much, it proves you're ridiculous. And now you're going to counter my argument, so please, Jake Liker, it's your on-air time now. Go.
Oh, I'm more than glad to refute you. First, BYU defeated Texas 40-21. BYU was the sole reason that Texas is now out of a defensive coordinating job.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Again, fact check. BYU actually did very well against Texas. This wasn't a close game. Listen, I told you this last week, I'm going to say it again. When it comes to the rankings, Oregon could be better than Alabama this year. Oregon may even play better than Alabama this year, which I don't think they have. But there's still, Alabama hasn't given us any reason not to vote them number 1 again. There's still no changing the fact that they're the 2-time defending national champs.
Well, I think, yes, I agree with you, but I rank my rankings not on how teams have previously done. I rank my teams on how I think they will do through the season. It's why I have Louisville that high up. I think Louisville may be 7th or so overall, but they're going to be undefeated through the regular season because their schedule is so easy.
Oregon could be better than Alabama. I could say to you right now, Oregon is better than Alabama. Oregon's going to win the national championship game, but it doesn't matter. Right now, from what we've seen this season, there's just not enough to go on, and we have to get back into what we've seen before. And it's a slap to the face to all of college football if you don't rank the undefeated two-time national champs number 1 right now because they haven't lost a game. Alabama is going to be number 1, even if they're not the best team in the country, until they lose a game.
Which,
the loss is the reason that we have.
Guess what? That segues us perfectly into our next segment. Yay! Guess who's playing Alabama next week? It's Texas A&M and Johnny Football. Who's excited? This guy.
I'd rather gouge my eyes out.
It's just that I can't wait. If Alabama beats them handily, I'll put them number 1. I really will. If they beat them handily, I think they've proven more this season. So I'm actually really excited because
Oregon will score then Oregon's going to score 80 points. You'll be like, actually, no, they're number 1.
Well, actually, Oregon is playing Tennessee, another SEC team. So what if Tennessee does well in the SEC? If Virginia does well in the ACC, I'm gonna laugh really hard. But
the power of bias compels you.
But no, Tennessee is a mediocre SEC team. We'll blow them out. But Alabama, if they beat Texas A&M in a close game, I can still put Oregon number 1. If it's over 14 points, then I think that Alabama, or if it's 14 or 10, somewhere in that range, I think Alabama's number 1. If it's a close game, 3 points or so, I still think Oregon's number 1. It's going to be end up how that looks out. But that is a really good game. Jake Liker, tell us who wins Alabama versus Texas A&M.
Final score, Alabama 231, Texas A&M -10.
Oh.
There is absolutely no chance that Texas A&M beats Alabama. There's no... I don't even know. I don't have the words to describe my reaction if Texas A&M won that game. This is Alabama's game to win. Alabama will win. The only way Texas A&M can pull this off is if the 12th man being declared actually translates to a 12th man on the field.
The problem is if that happens, then they're going to be called for too many men on the field, and then we get penalty yards, and that's what kills it. I mean, seriously, they're the 12th man. It's just going to give them penalty yards.
And considering Manziel's the quarterback, you're already going to have enough necessary penalty yards to deal with. Listen, that's just one reason. Johnny Manziel is not sure enough that he's not ready to beat Alabama. He beat them last year, but what I've seen from him is he has regressed. He's put more pressure on himself. Alabama is hungrier than ever. It's just, do you remember when Michael Phelps won all those gold medals that one year? And the guy who was trash-talking him, like some Serbian guy, and he almost beat him. But that trash-talking gave Phelps the motivation to beat him by 100th of a second. It's the same thing. Texas A&M and Johnny Manziel are only giving Alabama more reason to beat them. They're moving backwards. Alabama wins this game. Nick Saban's going to prepare this team well. And Alabama's coming off a bye. So, roll tide.
Wait, Texas A&M was practically coming off a bye, seeing they were playing Sam Houston State. I gotta say, that's about as good as a bye.
They scored 28 points. In a bye week, teams won't score 4 touchdowns. They won't score.
Alright, that's an acceptable amount of talking on that game, because I think Alabama will win. I think it'll probably be close. And I think if Johnny Manziel goes over 400 yards total, that Texas A&M wins. If that happens. I don't think it will. I think Alabama will stop him because they can bottle him up this year, especially without he's lost such a big part of his offense through graduation, the draft, and stuff like that. So I don't think they'll win. But if Johnny Manziel has a big game, that team wins because I don't think Alabama can put that many points on the board.
Yeah, as a Jewish person, I'm going to be at services next week for Yom Kippur. So lucky for me, I don't have to watch Johnny Manziel. So yeah, best day you could possibly think of a day for Yom Kippur. Although I did hear about an Alabama synagogue who told its congregants that they can't say Roll Tide during Yom Kippur.
That's hilarious. That's really, really funny. Now to the next...
Yeah, they're Jews in Alabama, believe it or not.
Alright, we're gonna go to our other game that's got 2 ranked teams. I guess it's kind of less ranked teams, but it's a game that you and me both like because it's UCLA at Nebraska. Yeah, this should be a blowout. Or not, even if it's not a blowout, it won't be a close game. UCLA will crush them. That's just the fact.
Okay, I'm a UCLA fan. I follow UCLA. I like what they do. I was there for their first game.
I know, you were listening to TiVo stuff.
It's not a blowout game by any means. Here's the thing. UCLA is the team who got 647 total yards in week 1. Okay? Nebraska is the defense that gave up 653 yards. 602 yards against Wyoming in the opening week.
Yep.
Unless Nebraska's defense rises from the dead, this is UCLA's game. But definitely, I won't be shocked. If we lose, I'll be surprised. I won't be shocked. I'm not expecting a blowout. I'll say final score. Let's go UCLA 41, Nebraska 31.
It's actually not a terrible score. I would just bump UCLA up to like 40. Let's go 45. Because that makes sense. And I think 40. It's going to be like 45-30 or so. I mean, it's not a huge blowout. I just think it's not a super close game. And by the halftime, they're going to be up by like 10 or so. I think this is UCLA's game to lose. That's what I'll say. UCLA is a good team. Brett Hundley is a good quarterback. Beyond a good quarterback. I think he could be a great quarterback. He may not be right now, but he could be a great quarterback. So yeah, I think that this will end up being UCLA's win pretty handily.
Yeah, you talk about motivation. It applies to the pros, it applies to college. It's the stuff that you can't see on paper that sometimes decides the contest. And with UCLA coming off the death of Nick Pasquale, they will be pumped, and they will stop at nothing. They will leave everything on the field. Yeah, so I definitely think UCLA is going to win this one, now that they also have a chip on their shoulder.
Well, this game is definitely going to be dedicated to Nick.
Very emotional game, and a very good game.
And I can't wait to see Taylor Martinez either, because I think Taylor Martinez is a really it's not just he's a good quarterback. I love watching him run off like something and just going like 60 yards just because he can. And I think he's a good quarterback, and I think I like Taylor Martinez. I like Brett Hundley more. But Taylor Martinez will be fun to watch. And that's cool.
Yeah, but UCLA's defensive front has really started to establish itself as one of the top units in the conference, led by Anthony Barr. But the other thing for UCLA, I was very impressed with their running back in week 1. His name kept popping up all over the place. I wasn't expecting him to perform the way he was. He did. Granted, it's Nevada, but still, I was impressed. I was thoroughly impressed. I just didn't see it coming. I'm not gonna lie. I was surprised that we were able to run the ball with the running back instead of Hundley. So if we can keep that dual threat with running the ball on the quarterback and the running back, the Bruins are home free.
Yeah, I got you. So that probably... Wait, yes?
I realized I didn't even mention his name. It'll probably sound like I have no idea what I'm talking about. His name is Jordan James. Yes, I know his name, and no, I didn't have to look him up. We have a running back. His name is Jordan James. I do know what I'm talking about.
Alright.
Okay.
Jake Liker, because I'm a nice person, do you have any topic you want to talk about? or any game you want to talk about, or anything you want to talk about, or any random quarterback other than Johnny Manziel you want to talk about?
It's just limited to college football, correct? Just limited to college football. This is the college football show.
Yes, if you start talking about the Packers, I will start making Kaepernick jokes, so...
You want to talk about jokes? The Vikings' defense is the joke.
Yeah, they really were. No, they were terrible. But, again, college football show. Please.
Yeah. Well, I'm a UCLA fan, and nothing makes me happier than the agony of Trojan fans. So, Washington State defeats USC 10-7. Here is why I'm so upset about it. Here's the one downside for this. For the entire 3 hours of the game, the Coliseum was roaring chants of "Fire Kiffin." If the athletic director Hayden listens to this, they might actually get smart and fire Kiffin, and then USC will have a chance again. I mean,
good point.
For the time being, you'll have a quarterback, but if they fire Kiffin, we could have something to worry about. But as long as Kiffin continues to sink the Trojan ship, it'll be fun. It'll be fun to watch them suffer.
It will. And I just think... I'm excited to see what Washington State does after this. That's what I'm excited to see. Because their defense played well in that game.
I mean, Washington State, such a bad team in the Pac-12. By far the worst team in the Pac-12 conference.
Oh,
and they come up with a win in USC, and they only scored 10 points, but they give up 7. So,
their defense is pretty strong.
They actually have a good team in Coleman, Washington.
Yeah, and they came really close to beating Auburn. I also want to say, Utah is 2-0, and so is Colorado. What is happening in the Pac-12?
I can tell you what's happening. It's called out of conference football. Let's see. Who does Utah play? Who is Colorado?
Utah's first game was against Utah State. Utah State was like 10-2 last year, or something like that. And this year, their quarterback is named like Chucky Keaton, I think. That's about what I know about Utah State. They also beat San Jose State. I was at that game. It was really exciting. Okay.
Utah's off the win against the formidable Weber State Wildcats, 70-7. That's why they haven't lost yet.
Well, that's exciting.
Colorado was played on the Colorado Buffaloes football. Sorry, I told you, I'm a UCLA fan. I'm not a Buffaloes fan. I don't really care who they play the week 2. They play against the Central Arkansas Bears.
Well, that is a very difficult team. Central Arkansas! Wait, is there a Central Arkansas? I thought that it was so small there wasn't actually a Central Arkansas.
Well, yeah, Central Arkansas is kind of just,
It's actually just the whole state. It's just all Central. Alright, I just want to bring up... Colorado's playing Fresno State next week. And Fresno State is a really good football team. And, yeah.
Fresno State has performed at the proverbial Super Bowl halftime show. Because they are all of a sudden out of nowhere turned into a has-been. So congratulations, Fresno State. You are officially a has-been, but people still kind of know your name. Because you used to be kind of sort of good.
No, they know the name because they won a championship in baseball as a 4 seed.
No, you want to know who won the championship in baseball? How about UCLA?
Yes, I know. I watched the game.
Yeah, I did too. It was fun. Fresno State, yeah. So for now, they just stick to making raisins. But
they're going to be a good team this year.
Neither of these two teams are football schools here. I don't know why we're covering this game.
No, I'm just saying that Fresno State is going to meet. Fresno State will win the Mountain West.
Well, yeah, but it's the Mountain West.
No, but I'm saying Fresno State could go undefeated.
Really?
Yes, okay. Here's the only reason I said in 2 weeks they play Boise State. If they make it through that week, it's pretty smooth sailing into the last game against San Jose State. So basically, San Jose State and Boise State are their only 2 hard games. Derek Carr is an extraordinary quarterback. He threw for 456 yards against Rutgers. So, and Rutgers is not an absolutely terrible team.
Alright, here's the thing. they could lose to Hawaii. They probably will lose to Hawaii.
They won't lose to Hawaii.
Colorado State is a good enough team.
No way.
Look, if you look at the teams in this division, Nevada, San Jose State, Hawaii, San Diego State, UNLV, Utah State, Boise State, New Mexico, Wyoming, Colorado State, Air Force. You're telling me that they can beat every single one of those teams?
They don't play Air Force, so, just putting that out there.
I'm just naming the entire conference.
I know. I'm just reading their schedule. Alright, here's the thing. Hawaii, they can beat, not that hard. Idaho, of course. UNLV has been terrible. San Diego State has been pretty bad. They lost to an FCS team, so, Wyoming actually could be surprisingly troublesome, because they came close to beating Nebraska. So, Nevada, Wyoming, San Jose State, Boise. I'm not saying they're gonna go undefeated, I'm saying they have a chance.
This is the Fresno State team that had to beat Rutgers 52-51 in overtime at home.
Yes,
no chance.
but that is a Rutgers team that is not. That's a Rutgers team that is at least from a good conference in the. Yeah, okay, sorry, that's not a good conference. Mountain West is probably strong. Okay, I'm just saying they have a chance. I'm not saying they will, and they're still a good team, and I think they'll win the Mountain West. Maybe with one loss, maybe with two, but they'll win the Mountain West.
And I think you're insane, so yeah, agree to disagree.
Ooh, I want to hear your... Wait, no, I need to hear who you think is going to win the Mountain West.
But why is this a question?
Because I brought it up.
Obvious. It's so obvious. How did you not pick Boise State?
Because you can pick San Jose State. You can pick San Jose State to win it. Because San Jose State was a better team last year.
Just because San Jose State beat Stanford once upon a time. No,
you want to know what San Jose State did last year? San Jose State got a BCS ranking last year. San Jose State was ranked in the BCS last year.
Oh, well, you know who else is familiar with being ranked in the BCS? Boise State. Boise State. This is their conference. It will always be their conference. Yeah. Some people have been seeing red, but I have to tell them this bond, Fresno State is going to be seeing blue, as well as the rest of the Mountain West. No way Boise State doesn't win this unless Nevada comes in their way, but from what I saw,
can you tell me why Boise State is good, other than they've been good previously? Last year they had a couple losses. They got crushed by Washington. And they're playing Air Force Friday. They play Air Force Friday. If it's even 2-score game against Air Force, you can say Boise State's not that good.
Boise State is going to win the Mountain West because nobody else in the Mountain West has a reasonable chance, except for maybe Hawaii.
You already said Nevada. You keep changing.
Hawaii or Nevada and Wyoming has shown that they can play football too.
Wait, you're saying San Jose State is worse than the Wyoming?
That is correct.
I really beg to differ on that one. But again, do you know who David Fales is? I'll just tell you, he does not fail. He's a really good quarterback. Yeah.
Wyoming traveled into Nebraska and lost by only 3. They are number 12 in the country in passing yards per game, 31st in rushing yards, 38th in points scored.
Whoa, stats you cannot use those stats right now, because if you want to use those stats, guess who is...
They played Nebraska and Idaho.
Guess who's 71st in points against? Boise State. Guess who's 74th in passing yards? 213th. It's Boise State. 213th. Boise State.
They have to play Washington in Washington.
Yeah, but I'm saying the stats at this point in the season do not matter.
Oh, okay. The stat that Wyoming went into Nebraska and got over 600 yards and only lost by 3. Numbers never lie. Unless they're talking about war. Because that stat also said that Mike Trout would win the MVP over Miguel Cabrera. But that's for a different time.
Trout should have won the MVP over Miguel Cabrera. He had a better season.
Oh, no. Don't you even, or we will be on here for another hour. I have so many reasons. My brother's an Angels fan. I've done this once a week since that award. So, because I will prove you.
One word. War. Wins above replacement.
Technically an acronym for 3 words, and it's kind of stupid because it said that a triple crown winner should not win the MVP, and that's absolutely ridiculous.
Alright, really quickly, I want to see, because we can talk about the Pac-12, if UCLA does not win the South, which they will, who else wins the South? It's not USC.
It's not USC. I would say Arizona State, but they have a tendency to fall apart in the second half.
But can you really say Arizona? Because I don't know if they can do it.
No, UCLA is going to do it. UCLA is going to win the
Yes,
Pac-12
okay, who's going to
South.
be second? I think Arizona State will be second because Arizona State can figure out how to do that.
I'm going to say... I'll go Arizona. If anyone can beat UCLA in the Pac-12 South, it's either Arizona and shortly find them as Utah and Arizona State. I just don't think the Sun Devils have what it takes in the second half of the season. I imagine it being very frustrating to be an Arizona State Sun Devils fan.
Yeah, okay. Alright, and then I want to do, I guess not one more thing. I want to do another thing. Alright, if you look at the Pac-12, I want to look at the Pac-12 North versus the SEC West. Real quick. Even though these are really flipped, because Georgia, Florida, and South Carolina are in the East, that's a different story. In the West, with Alabama, LSU, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Auburn, you compare that to Stanford, Oregon State, Washington, California, and Washington State. Who is better top to bottom?
Are you kidding right now?
But you can't say, okay, who do you think would win, California or Arkansas?
Oh my god, Carl, listen, I'm a West Coast guy, you're a West Coast guy, but this is the SEC we're talking about. Even if it is the lesser division, Arkansas would be the SEC West. With Alabama and Texas A&M. You think the Pac-12 North would the candle set?
I'm saying top to bottom, though. I'm not saying that. I'm saying top to bottom. If you say, like, say you take out, I don't know, middle team.
Then the Pac-12 North loses automatically because they have Oregon State and they have Washington State. Game over, and once again, the SEC wins yet another argument.
Can I kick you out? I'm kicking you out of the Pac-12. If you didn't know, that's happening.
You're kicking me out of the...
No, okay, here's the one thing about Arkansas. Arkansas only beat Samford by 10 points. Samford. They beat Samford. S-A-M Ford by 10 points.
Beat, as in D-E-A-T, as in W, as in 1-0. You know who's not 1-0? Oregon State.
Okay. I can accept that because I don't like Oregon State. No, okay, but you can't, okay. You have to admit that the North would beat the East. Because Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, and, like, Vanderbilt. Those are all pretty... Kentucky, Washington State could beat Kentucky. Right?
Potentially.
I could say that Oregon State could probably take Vanderbilt, but it'd be close.
Oh, no. Let me tell you something. If we're talking about SEC and the SEC versus any other conference, the SEC will win. It's very simple. If you look at the Pac-12 North's overall record, they are, let's see, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They are 7-3 overall. The Pac-12 North is 7-3. Okay?
That is true.
The SEC West.
I'm talking about the East now. I switched to the East.
You can't do that on me.
I did that 2 minutes ago. You weren't listening. Jake Liker, please listen.
No, I was listening. You clearly weren't listening because I was still busy demolishing the Pac-12 North, and I can do it again with the SEC East. If you want to look at the SEC East, Georgia, Missouri, Tennessee, Florida, Kentucky, South Carolina, Vanderbilt. It's closer, but it's still the SEC East because you have Georgia and South Carolina. And Florida's a good team. Miami's just better.
Oh. Hey.
I don't know why we're having this discussion. I just don't. This is college football. We're talking about college football. If the question is college football, the answer is SEC. When is the last time somebody from the SEC did not win the national championship?
Texas. Texas won one. And I want to say
that was when Vince Young was still good. The SEC has automatically won every single argument. It's over. It's not a debate.
Okay, because I'm not making any ground, even though I'm right, we're going to go, because I can, to our next topic that you're not prepared for. We're going to go to Upset Alert, because we can. You excited? Alright, my first team on Upset Alert that you're really going to hate is Ohio State is going to lose to Cal, or could lose to Cal. Because you have to look at last year, with a worse Cal team and a better Ohio State team, it was only a 7-point game. And Brandon Bigelow absolutely went nuts on Ohio State.
Oh my God. What do they have up there in Oregon that is making you completely delusional? What are you talking about? I heard you correctly. You said Ohio State would beat Cal.
No, I said Cal has the possibility. I'm not saying they will. I'm saying there's the possibility that Cal could beat Ohio State.
So you're saying there's a chance that they might somehow win. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying it's not more than that. I'm saying there's not a high probability, but I'm saying there's more than just a chance that they'll win.
Alright, fine. If you want to go upset alert, then I'll give you a real upset alert. You're going to have to go further down on the rankings. Because technically number 6 Texas A&M losing wouldn't be an upset.
No, you cannot pick any game with 2 ranked teams. If there's 2 ranked teams in the game, it's not an upset.
Correct. You would probably have to go all the way down to...
Notre Dame is playing Purdue.
Number 20. You'd have to go all the way down to number 20, Wisconsin, and Arizona State. To me, I don't consider Notre Dame losing an upset, to be honest, because they don't even deserve to be there in the first place.
We need to prove this to the coaches that they suck. It's important to me.
Okay. Well, dude, don't hate. That team's gone through a lot lately.
Notre Dame will lose to Purdue, though.
They might not. It's not an upset either way. The upset you're looking for is Arizona State hosting Wisconsin. That's where you can find an upset. Also,
I couldn't agree more.
If you want something crazy, a little more out there,
like Cal Ohio State crazy.
No, because there's a difference between crazy and insane. Number 14, Oklahoma hosting Tulsa. That's the only other one that could possibly happen. Don't look for this to be an upset week, though. It's not.
Did you just say Oklahoma could be beaten by Tulsa?
You wanted something up there. You showed me up when you said that Ohio State.
Okay, actually, no, I can accept that because Tulsa's actually not terrible, and they almost lost. Can you believe that Oklahoma almost lost to West? I mean, didn't almost lose, but it was a pretty close game to West Virginia.
Yeah, I can believe that. That West Virginia, they're a good team. Oh, and they have the most underrated jerseys in the country. I just want to throw that out there.
All right, but okay, here's my issue with Tulsa. They lost to Bowling Green 34-7.
I had to just throw darts really and pick somebody. And I thought, okay, Oklahoma's vulnerable. Let's go with them. I don't think that Oklahoma's going to win that game. I just have to keep it interesting. To be honest, the only ranked team that's losing, I'll tell you all the ranked teams that are losing. Number 6, Texas A&M is going to lose. Number 23, Nebraska is going to lose. Number 20, Wisconsin is going to lose. Those are the only 3 I can guarantee.
You forgot Notre Dame.
Notre Dame might win that game.
But no, they won't.
I think they will, actually. I think they will. I think you're being a little tough on them.
I'm not being tough on them. I'm being realistic. Oh, also, Texas could beat Ole Miss, but that's not really an upset. Because Ole Miss is ranked 25.
That's not happening. Ole Miss is ranked.
Yeah, it's Ole Miss is ranked because they're 2-0 and they barely beat Vanderbilt.
Correct, and they'll still win.
Texas will definitely, especially because their defense will probably be the exact same with a different guy there. Huh, fun. Also, actually, it's gonna be kind of a boring week, other than a couple games.
I agree. I told you, it's a good week. God picked a good weekend for Yom Kippur. If God really picked that.
Actually, okay. I'm ready for another one that's way out there.
Sure, let's do it.
Vandy against South Carolina.
Let me stop you right there. Vanderbilt. Okay, let's talk about Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's football team, they used to be the good guys at the SEC. Led by Aaron Rodgers' little brother, the only team in all of SEC not to have ever gone on probation or involved in a scandal. And then, well, that changed. Let's put it that way. God, I don't want to be blunt. I'm trying to beat around the bush. The current state of the behavior I have seen in this institution's football program is insufficient to defeat South Carolina.
Okay, you could say that. I'll accept. It was a way out there one, but if it happens, I called it.
Well, I mean, it's football. Anything could happen.
Yes, Appalachian State happened.
Appalachian State. Oh, that's a throwback.
I go throwback sometimes. Hey, did you know that Oregon State was the third ranked team to lose to an FCS team? Other than that, it was Virginia Tech. And, you knew who I'm talking about. Appalachian State. Yeah, that happened.
Yeah?
Uh-huh. Yes. Also, you know who's underranked? You want to know a team that's really underranked?
Who?
LSU is better than people think at 8.
Agreed.
LSU, it's because for some reason they've decided that Texas A&M and Alabama are these untouchable things. And I think Alabama's better, but I think Texas A&M should not even be a top 10 team, probably. They may be like a top 15 team.
They have to hire some trophy winner on next year. Listen, I hate Menzel as much as the next guy, but...
They're not top 10, they're top 15.
Top 10.
Top 12, maybe 12.
Pick with your head, not with your heart.
This is you. You always think with your heart. Have you ever heard yourself talk about Johnny Manziel? It's funny.
Okay. Listen. Johnny Manziel strikes me. Are you telling me that Johnny Manziel could lead a Nick Saban, or could be a Nick Saban-led Alabama again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I shouldn't be very surprised that you said that, considering this is coming from the guy who said that Ohio State's going to lose this week to Cal.
I'm not saying they will, I'm saying there's a possibility. I'm saying upset alert, because it's possible.
Okay, well then everyone's on upset alert, because it's college football. Anything can happen.
But, okay, here's you want to see a reasoning for that? Look at last year. 35-28, Ohio State. And I'm saying that Ohio State's probably... at best, they're as good of a team, but they're not better. And Cal is a better team with Sonny Dykes leading them.
Yeah, a wise man once said, and I think he said this about 20 minutes ago, that you can't go on what happened last year to determine this year's team.
But see, I'm pulling what you did, and it's like, we only have what we've seen so far. Huh?
Yeah, what we've seen so far is from the Ohio State team that handled Buffalo easily by 20, and now San Diego State to 7 points. So, yes, game, set, match, Ohio State wins again.
Ooh. That's okay. Still.
Yeah, I went there.
You went there. Oh, snap. Like you're going crazy. Yeah. Again, it's an alert. I'm saying it's not a low possibility chance. I wouldn't be shocked if that happens. I'm saying that's all I'm saying. don't be going all crazy like her on me. I'm saying yeah. That game was close.
I think you're the crazy one here, but I've established that point, and I've been doing so for the past 15 minutes. Neither of us have changed our ground here. The only problem is, I'm in a lose-lose situation, because if Ohio State wins, you can come back and say, I only said they had a chance, and if Cal wins, you get to laugh in my face. So I've backed myself into a corner here. But let the record show that I think that Ohio State will crush Cal, and you actually thought that Cal had a chance. So.
Okay, we can go with that. I'll accept that. I'll say Cal has a chance. I think it'll be within a two-score game. At the least, it's a two-score game.
Whatever you say, Carl. Whatever you say.
I know I'm a genius. It's wonderful. It is really just gorgeously wonderful how genius I am.
Gorgeously wonderful.
Gorgeously wonderful. Well, it's not just wonderful. It's gorgeously wonderful. Alright, thoughts on Texas firing their defensive coordinator?
Texas holds themselves to a higher standard. But they're not the team that they used to be. You gotta give them one more chance. I mean, let him prove himself against the right opponent in Ole Miss.
Okay, that's a logical point on that. I couldn't agree more. I mean, if you don't fire Lane Kiffin, you shouldn't fire that guy.
True. It's just a shame because we're seeing this everywhere in sports. Guys in the staff position getting fired a lot more easily. Look at George Karl. It's college football, so I won't talk about it. But it's a lot of injustice. Look at Lovie Smith with the Bears. He was fired even though his team had 10 wins. It's
just
a
sad
shame,
thing.
and now it's passing over to college.
It is. It's very, very sad. I mean, you look at, all over sports. Of course, the Lakers situation last year. That was interesting.
No. I think everyone supported the firing of Mike Brown. If you want to talk about injustice, you talk about George Karl.
Yeah, I can accept that.
To coach your team.
No, if you want to talk about injustice, you talk about Lovie Smith.
George Karl was way worse. George Karl was 10 times worse.
Okay, whatever. Alright,
did Lovie Smith fight through cancer to lead his team? No.
Yeah.
Did Lovie Smith lead his team to the playoffs every year he was there?
No.
No?
So, yeah, okay. You can say they were both injustices. George Karl definitely was. Really quickly, I want to talk about Jadeveon Clowney, the wonder kid, who's not that wonderful. He's saying he's really frustrated with his role. He's saying they should be finding more creative uses of him.
Here's the thing, because it's the Texas thing all over again. He's being held to such a higher standard that anything short of amazing is
it's not up to par.
It is unacceptable. So in reality, Clowney's doing fine. Clowney is filling his position fine. The problem is what everyone's saying is supposed to be the most amazing player to have ever stepped on the football field.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, don't change anything because he's still playing good enough. You don't want to ruin anything. He'll return to form. He just has to get started up. But just you wait. Don't change anything. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I can tell you this: Jadeveon Clowney is not broke.
Yep. Jadeveon Clowney is still a dominating player. He's just getting triple teamed right now. So that's the key issue. The first game against North Carolina, he was against an All-American left tackle in that game, or right tackle. Excuse, left or right? No, it was a left. No, right. He was against an All-American tackle in that game. That was not him playing against some just normal guy.
Yeah, Clowney's just not worth the time of discussion, to be honest, because he's doing what he needs to do. He's good enough, so I'm sorry that he's not the second coming of the football version of whatever What do you call it, Jim Peters? Purple Jesus?
Yeah, so he is not, Red Jesus.
Red Jesus.
Yeah.
Maroon Jesus, if you will.
He's not South Carolina's Okay, we can accept that. Yep, he's not the greatest player to ever have played or anything, but that's the standard he's being held up to. If he doesn't have 3 sacks a game, everybody thinks he's doing terrible.
Yeah, Clowney's good enough. I reiterate once again, Davian Clowney's good enough. Ease off the kid. He has to ease off himself. Because, to be honest, most of the pressure that he's getting is his own mentality fault. So, he just got to calm down. Just calm down, play the game you love, and you'll be fine.
Exactly. Also, what are the odds that Northwestern can win the Legends?
Oh, I mean, the Big Ten is getting worse and worse, so, I mean, I picked them to win the Legends last year.
Yep, I don't think it's impossible.
Not impossible.
Nope, not at all. Also, I think I wish Penn State was bowl eligible because I like this Penn State team.
I think what they've done at Penn State is really, really impressive.
I think Bill O'Brien the job that Bill O'Brien has done is just outstanding.
Incredible.
Outstanding.
It's nothing short of incredible what Bill O'Brien has done there to get the guys he's needed to stay. The whole team has rallied together. Sometimes it takes.
And now they're at the point
to bring a team together.
And now they're at the point where the recruits they're bringing in by their redshirt sophomore or junior year, they get to play in a bowl game. So now they can start recruiting players who will get to play in a bowl game at some point. So it gets easier and easier. And now that Bill O'Brien has proved all this, there's going to be a lot of kids who are saying, "I want to go play for that guy."
Yeah, really impressive what he's done. If they ever fire him, oh my God.
I don't think they'll ever fire him. I think he'll probably end up getting a head coaching job in the NFL one day.
Oh, that's a stretch. That's a stretch.
No, one day. Not today. I'm not saying this year. I'm saying maybe in like 4 years. I can see that happening.
I don't think so.
Well, he was an offensive coordinator in the NFL before. I mean, it only makes sense.
True. Alright. Fine. Maybe one day.
Yeah, I'm not saying today. I'm just saying one day. That could totally happen.
Alright.
Well, I think we've talked about basically everything we can. So, unless there's any other topic you want to talk about, I think it's time for us to go.
Unless you have strong feelings about the Capital One mascot challenge and the epic matchup coming up.
Yes, I actually kind of do now. Jeez, you made me want to go check that out. This is all your fault. I now really want to know how the Capital One mascot challenge is going.
I can tell you right now, Baldwin the Eagle of Boston College is in first place.
Wow,
that's
they're
doing a
shocking
scoring system this year. They're awarding 5 games per matchup, and the margin of how much you win by is how many wins you get.
I don't like that as much. I mean, it just means that strength of schedule matters. Aw, Smokey did not have a good day, did he? Smokey did, yeah.
Alright, so you know you're right. That's stuff to talk about, because we're talking about stuff that includes the epic mascot matchup battle of Big Red of Western Kentucky to Big Red.
Big Red is like the most awesome mascot. What are you talking about?
And Cam the Ram, Colorado State University.
Yeah, buddy. Personally, maybe my favorite is obviously Rocky the Bull of USF. He's awesome, obviously. Yep, that's obvious. That's just a great pick. You can look at... Actually, you want to know what the greatest mascot here is? It's obviously Petey the Pirate from East Carolina.
Oh, really? Over Big Red?
Actually, never mind. Big Red is always winning.
Oh, no. I know who my favorite is.
Who?
How about Raider Red from Texas Tech? I love that guy.
Ooh, not a bad pick. What are your thoughts on Rocky the Rocket of Toledo?
What are my thoughts of Rocky the Rocket of Toledo?
Yes.
He could do better on the pun. I mean, Rocky the Rocket. First of all, the guy doesn't look like a rocket. He looks more like a knight with a blue visor. So historical accuracy and pun accuracy, both docked for that.
Wait,
but
I'm
I just
confused.
don't think there are enough people in Toledo that care to vote for the mascot challenge. So,
how did Baldwin the Eagle? Wait, Baldwin the Eagle has 5 wins and 1 loss, even though nobody. Wait, and so does Rocky the Bull has 4 wins and 2 losses. So some of these mascots have been getting extra wins somehow. That's fishy. That is very.
All right.
Very
Well,
fishy.
yes, I think you're right when we said that we are really ran out of things to talk about. I mean,
really, really are.
Yeah, you've gone on for a while, you know, though.
Okay.
You made a star.
We talked. This is now at the 66th minute of the show, and I only talked for like 15 minutes by myself. So we've talked for like 40 minutes on random stuff. Congratulations.
We just bounce off each other.
We do, mainly because we disagree on so many levels.
Oh, really? Yeah, I mean, you make that easy for me, to be honest, with some of the stuff you say.
Oh, I know. The thing is, I love going against public opinion, which is really fun for me. So yeah. But okay, you agree with my prestige ranking thing, right? That teams get ranked because of their prestige, and it's a bad thing.
Yes. I somewhat agree.
Yay!
But I have to give it to you. But I never disagree with you. You have to admit that I won the George Carl versus Lovie Smith. Okay, that's one for me. And number 2 was that twist I pulled on you, and the fact that Ohio State is going to beat Cal.
I like that.
Take 2, Carl 1.
Okay, I'm gonna end on that. I'm gonna end this college football on air by saying, this is me, Carl Mogline, signing off for Jake Liker. This has been College Football on Air. Go Cal! And follow me on Twitter.